Reeder and Steve Fisher.
You got to go into this. It's a grind. It's a haul. It's a whole additional season. And you're going to go in this with a guy who hasn't been head coach.
Yeah. All right, we move now to last night's nail-biting ending of the national championship game as Florida beat Houston 65-63. Florida led this game for just 64 seconds, but they were the right 64 seconds. Will, on your reflections on who won and how it ended?
Tony, immediately and now, you look at those final two possessions for Houston, they don't get a shot up. And you go, that's a failing. And Kelvin Sampson talked about that specifically, how it's going to keep him up. And I was rooting for Kelvin Sampson because I know him, and I don't know the Florida coach or Florida people. And I was rooting for Kelvin Sampson because I thought what he's done consistently every year, not just this year, put them in position to win, to come back against Duke. And people get carried away, though. Part of my reflections have to do with reactions and overreactions. And even some of the great analysts. And they act like these games are choreographed, and they're not. They're sports. And they're kids, and they make mistakes. And sometimes the defense smothers you and confuses you and bewilders you, and you don't set the screen or the back screen, or you don't re-screen, or you don't do some of the things that all these adult 60-year-old people are saying these kids must do under the pressure of the moment. Houston didn't get it done. I know they feel bad about that. I feel bad for them. But Florida has, time and time again, they performed under that pressure. And they won, so kudos to the Gators.
Yeah, so I believe that Houston gagged in the way that Duke gagged.
Very similar.
I believe Kelvin Sampson failed in the way that John Shire failed. A little bit more surprising because Kelvin Sampson is older and his team is more experienced. Duke could not inbound the ball. Houston could not get a good shot. Both teams squandered their possessions late. Both teams could have won, and I would tell you probably should have won those games. But I talked to you yesterday. I believe I got this right. I told you I was picking Florida because Florida throughout this tournament had been down by large margins and had come back to win. For example, 10 points to Texas Tech late, 9 points to Auburn late, 12 points last night to Houston late, and each time Florida won, they don't gag. Okay, a team last night, they played a team last night, a great defensive team, a team with tremendous experience and a team that has lived all year in close games and won them, and they beat them.
But you know what?
So I would congratulate them.
No doubt. I looked at last night's game, though, and, first of all, Walter Clayton, they held him down.
But when they needed
Houston
him
did a great job. He made 3 baskets that mattered.
Yeah.
He did. But I'm saying, okay, but
when they win,
we think Walter Clayton's going to be a real pro, and for that team to hold him down for 35 minutes
they're a great
is a credit.
team.
Yes.
Yeah, they are.
And so I'm not, you know what? I'm not going to get into blaming Houston too much. As you know, I told you, I'm not going to blame Duke too much. Should they have won? I agree with you.
Yes.
I think that each of those teams should have won. But you know what? Houston doesn't have a great player. When they cut in the camera cut to Hakeem, that's a great player who used to wear a Houston uniform.
Here's an interesting little statistic. Houston has been in the Final Four 7 times.
Yeah.
They've never won. It's the most amount of being in the Final Four without a victory. They did not win with a king. But every team that beats them in the Final Four wins the national championship, whether it's the semis or
finals.
Yeah, whatever it is.
I feel for them just a little bit. I do. Let's go to the Lakers.